just in a competition with myself, seeing how stupid of a thumbnail picture I can take. And the camera ain't even ready. Look at me. How very unprofessional. Hey Nick, how you doing? Yeah, you're probably right. Just started up the video a minute 39 seconds ago. That's a harp from made yesterday. This one's going to dude in Russia. You really like how it plays. It's a C sharp, and what I do with my list is I'll take down what people want, and then as I build those harps, I'll come to the first person whose name is on a note or something, and then offer it to them. But the sharps, not a whole bunch of people want a sharp unless it's a D sharp. So this one's going to a gentleman I know in Russia. Really gnarly. This is a longer one. I did it in 1074 spring steel, a little bit stiffer, or a little bit thicker actually. It's .025, so got this long length, and it's not even really that low. Really like the way it plays though. Super easy. How do I tune harps? That is an excellent question. A lot of people tune them in different manners with solder, adding weights and stuff. What I do when I make a harp, a little bit of tea here, is when I make a harp, I know what lengths, widths, and tapers will yield me about 3 to 4 notes, because even if you have the same length, width, and taper, you could end up being closer to one note or closer to another note when the harp ends up, just in difference of grinding, and just if you remove a slight amount of material, it can change the tuning of the harp all the way to a different note. But whatever note I'm closest to, I take and I grind just a little bit of metal, a little bit of material off the sides of my trigger. That lightens up the trigger so it is able to vibrate faster. And then I come up until I'm on the tone, like this one I did in C sharp, with an open strike, with my just holding my tongue in the center. That, oh my goodness. Mr. Pickles is down here begging for food. But I'll raise to that next nearest note with my tongue in the center, and that's the tuning I call it. And I like to raise harps. I do not like to drop them. Some makers will remove off the bass. Or where's that Kovac Senko? Some will remove. My least favorite way to tune them is some makers will make their reeds really thick, and then here at the base they'll remove some. Can't even think. Mr. Pickles is over there fussing. They'll remove some of the thickness, the actual material thickness, and that results in a reed that goes like this and doesn't want to flex. So I pretty much only raise them. Some makers will put solder, and this is another good way to do it, put solder in the inside of the knee bend and then shave off of it to raise up and hit notes as well. Actually, that Babayev that I was playing for the review has a little dollop of solder there, and it plays excellent. But I've also seen where solder isn't a good idea if people raise it or lower it too much by putting too much solder on. And the trick is not taking the harp very far. You don't want to raise it a long ways, just bump it up to the nearest note. And if you're dropping with solder, you probably don't want to go much further than the nearest note below it. Mr. Pickles, you don't need fed, you just ate. So yeah, just don't take it very far. If you add too much weight or you take too much weight off, it messes up the proportions of the reed because you want so much material and you also want so much weight. But that's Mr. Pickles. What are you doing? Cat is stalking around. Hold on. You don't want up here, Mr. Pickles. And you've already been fed. This cat needs fed no more. He's also a little starved for attention since we've got a baby now. Really like this harp because I'm getting better and more consistent bell rings in the harps that I make. And I'm keeping it. What I'm doing with my harps is I keep them for a week, test them, play them. If there's anything about them I don't like, sometimes I won't even sell them. I'll just give them away. Or if there's something like if I notice, okay, it's not playing as well outward as it is inward, I'll move the trigger in and out a little bit. Sometimes you have to bump the tuning around, but okay, what else? What else can we play here? With the moon harp. I've been playing the moon harp all the time. And oh yeah, check this out. He says, we got our cat from a family that needed to rehome their cat. Just because, oh yeah, Mr. Pickles is not jealous of the new baby. He does kind of feel neglected because before, he was always be petting the cat. And now with the baby, you're hardly ever pet the cat. And I actually practiced rocking the baby back and forth with the cat because Mr. Pickles, he's so mellow, you can just pick him up and But anyways, getting off the topic of cats. I do not mind that harp at all. And what else was I going to talk about? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. So I've been searching. A lot of people hit me up for cases for harps and make them out of wood. I really don't have enough time to make them out of wood. And when you make a harp or a case for a harp out of wood, a lot of times it only fits that one harp. So I've been searching for a good option to just throw any harp in it. Let me grab my box here. I was actually doing heating and air at a shop that sold these type of devices, and you may or may not have seen cases like this before. Check this out. That's a good find. You can get these off Amazon. You can get them from me. You can get them at stores that sell glass art. We're going to call it that. This is a zippered clamshell case. I was doing heating and air work at a store that sold this type of stuff, and most of the time people put like pipes in them made out of glass to protect them. Well, when I seen them, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm gonna put in that. I'm gonna put a harp in there. And what I'm doing with these is I just whittled out a place for the reed, and your harp goes right in there. And you zip her up. That way you can put it in your pocket. You can throw it on your dash. Somebody says Glottis case might work. Yeah, your Glottis case might work. You might have to add a little bit of extra padding. But these, you can find them on the internet anywhere from $8 to $10. I buy them in bulk, so I sell them for $10 or to add on to any harp for $8. But anyways, yeah, you can fit a variety of harps in them. Yeah, and they come in different sizes too. Like if you have longer harps, these really long, and then I bought one of these. Oh, Mr. Pickle's a spot of this box. He's going to be taking it over. And I got a giant one. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. For when I know I'm heading out, I'm going to do stacks of rubber foam in here, 3 deep, and then with holes drilled all over it or whittled out all over with it, so I can stack harps in there. You know, have like 4 or 5 harps side by side, then another layer, like a little harp suitcase. But yeah, decided to find a better option for just any harp case. Now, it probably wouldn't hold up if, you know, you stomped on it or something. But for just regular carry, I think that these are going to be a good option. As my options before weren't great, what I would do is I would take strips of wood and rubber band harps on there. Then when you get a harp out to show somebody, you're pulling rubber bands off and fighting, breaking rubber bands all the time. But this should be a good option. This is going to be kind of a rambly live upload. Oh, and the harp I built yesterday, it was like about the 1-year anniversary of when I made this. This was actually my first harp that I built. And I about cried when I played it and it made noise because I made so many ugly harps that didn't make any sound. And then this is the harp I built today. So let's go ahead and let's just compare them for the heck of it. This is the harp from 1 year ago. Pretty quiet. Pretty, I wouldn't call it musical. What I ended up doing is because I didn't know about keeping my reed flat consistently. I cut it part of the way down and it actually ramps down across there so it makes sound out of phase. Sounds like a Hobby Lobby mouth harp. I think, let me grab my Hobby Lobby mouth harp. I think it's a little bit louder than that. Where are you at, Hobby Lobby? There it is. Hey, here's a Hobby Lobby mouth harp. So yeah, it's a little bit louder than a Hobby Lobby one. A little bit more manipulatable. One thing that they did do a lot better is their reed sits dead flat. Mine does not. Mine ramps across there, cross-sects. And if you look, it's kind of at an angle this way too. So proper alignment makes for a good, clean sounding harp. And this one is not, but I'm always going to keep this one because this is where I started. I've got piles of harps that are bent wrong. And then this is the one I built today. Or yesterday, finished up yesterday. I spend like 15 to 30 minutes every evening working on them. Bell rings. So yeah, this one from today is just, or from yesterday is much better than the harps a year ago, and just happy to be getting better. Somebody says, could you say the harp from 1 year ago was your first successful bass harp? Yeah, I don't know what the tuning would be on. I could probably tune it if I wanted to, but I'm leaving it in its original form. I have a Where's my... I have an A sharp that I made. Oh, here it is. And it don't sound bad at all. But yeah, that's probably one of the lower harps I built. And the reason it's lower, if we look at it, there's a lot of weight. It's pretty long. A lot longer than even the long harps I build now. But there's a lot of weight. Look at how tall my trigger was and how big and how beefy the metal is. So all that extra weight, well, at the base, we got a lot more spring to it. But out near the end, we got all this extra weight too. So it's pretty low. We're going to play one more harp. I always say that. I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to play like one more harp. And then 10 harps later, I'm like, okay, like, share, and subscribe for more harpery. What are y'all doing? How's your evening going? How much does the double reed harp cost? I've got them for $100 shipped. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if there's anywhere on the internet that'll be cheaper than that, but they're all around $90 to $100. And it's not an everyday player, but I've been enjoying it these past couple of days. It really tests my skill because I'm definitely not used to playing it. And you have to hold your mouth open really far, so it's limited in a lot of fashions. But it's also pretty cool because you have 2 reeds and 2 frequencies to mix around with. And the video that I uploaded at like 4:30 this morning, 3:30 or 4:30, I was playing this. And the frequencies you hear in your head don't always make it to the microphone. So there's a lot. The harp is way gnarlier than it sounds. Because you've got all these strange frequencies bouncing around your head, and a lot of it, the microphone won't pick it up. So a lot of it just is lost in your skull. It's very, very, I don't know if you call it psychedelic. As far as playing it is. Let's play. Oh, 1 or 2 more and we're going to call it good. Always be oiling them. Trying to oil the harps as I play them. So after the last live upload, I can't remember how many harps I played, but over the course of an hour. But I had a ton that needed oiled, so I'm trying to do that as it happens. I'm just playing on the Phantom. I haven't played the Phantom in a couple weeks. There's that sound I was making there. I was watching something. I was scrolling through Instagram and I seen a Russian guy saying that he's new into the harp, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna try that. I guess I never thought of using a lot of N sounds. I guess I do kind of versions of that. I'll tap the tip of my tongue. Not the new. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I don't think I've done that before. I was punching an in breath, and then or punching an out breath, and then on my in breath, I was releasing my. Have you all ever tried that where you? I just there was punching an exhale, and when I spread my lips off of it, I'd get an inhale. Let's see if I can replicate that. I just kind of fell into it organically, so let's see if I can do that again. I don't know how I found that. That was really cool. Oh, Dr. Crowden, how do you do, man? How's your evening? Dr. Crowden is the master jaw harpist. He's been giving me some lessons on the open-close melodic, so that's been a lot of fun. It's a lot more musically inclined than I thought. It's almost like you have to learn how to sing to do the open-close correctly. Let's go ahead and let's try some of that melodic play. See if I can do it. My problem is I can't ever, like I can do the opening and closing of the glottis as I can't find the exact notes or overtone. Mr. Pickle, tell you what, you big bully, I will get you some cat food after the live upload, but you must wait. You just ate. Oh, open close. I'm going lower. I wanted to step up, and I was stepping below with my closed glottis. Do re, do re. See, this is what it's like for a musical person like me. Do do. It ain't right, but we gonna do it anyways. Nope, ain't got it. We'll have to do it some other time. Bye, Dr. Grouden. You have a great evening, and thank you for learning me a little bit. I'm a slow learner, especially when it comes to the harp. I just I'm persistent. I really keep after the harp, and I squeeze in harp playing whenever I can. Try to carry one on me, show it off to people, embarrass my wife with it. That's something I do an awful lot. I'm so used to the little iPhone. I've been doing a lot of my shooting and live uploads with the iPhone 7. I had this little teeny tripod, and I bought a mount to fit it on a regular size tripod. So I'm used to kind of crouching down near the microphone and the camera. And there we go. Hit the mic. That's the good thing to do. But now the camera's back up here, so I got to get used to be like, oh yeah, I can have proper posture and not be all hunched over when I'm playing. And I don't think it's very good for your playing to be hunched over and have poor posture, especially for that melodic style play where you want your throat open and long. Okay, which Hillbilly Breathing one did you watch? Did you watch the first one, the one that's from like 6 or 8 months ago that's got a ton of views, or the one I just uploaded a couple weekends ago? We'll just go ahead and just try the Hillbilly Breathing. And I don't know what people actually call it. I'm just like, it sounds like some hillbilly bluegrassy type stuff. So I'm like, I'm just gonna call it Hillbilly Breathing. The Acoustions probably have a name for it. They're heavy into the play like that. What would be a good harp? There we go. Easy, cheap harp for doing this. Like a Salagi Chancellor, and you can do it on a lot of harps. And my newest video on the Hillbilly Breathing was taking it a step further and using it on the stiffer reeded, like Vargan. Here's a Salagi Chancellor is a real good one for it, or any of the Blackfires. Salagis are especially breathy and crackly. What I'm doing is first we're going to start with in and out breaths, and you need to first the original video. Okay, in and out breaths, and I might grab a little bit more sensitive of a harp. I'm gonna grab a Blackfire and whatever. F sharp. And you've tuned in to just watching me look for harps. Here's a B. First, you need to master your in and out breaths. Setting up in, out, or out, in. Just in, out, or out, in. And first, just do that until you have it. I don't like that. That's a little bit too high for that. And you can do it on any harp. We're just going to go ahead and do it with the moon hop. And what I'm doing is in and out breaths. And after you get the in and out, I'm trying to do it on a $5 Austrian harp. Yes, you do need a better harp. Those Austrian harps, the gaps are too big. You can't build the back pressure. What we're doing is we're feeding off that back pressure, trying to do it on an Austrian. Here's me doing it, and I'm pretty good at it. See, I can't really build any back pressure. You need to feel the resistance and draw through it like you're drawing through a straw. Now, if a straw was too big, there wouldn't be no resistance. Or if you were trying to blow through a trumpet, and this isn't a good analogy, but if you were trying to blow through a trumpet and the tube feeding it was too big, then you wouldn't build up any real velocity. But you need that pressure. Like you can get a Salagi Chancellor, or even some of the cheaper, like here, about the cheapest one I recommend for, it says the gaps in mine are tight. Well, also, like nothing sharp on it. It is a very, very dull harp. You want a harp that's kind of sharp. You could do it off even a Glazerian Lighthouse. And we're out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath. There, I was kind of doing a techno thing. I'm trying to remember exactly the tune I used to do for Hillbilly Breathing. That dun 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 dun. There, I'm stuttering my rest, and you can't really do it without a harp because you need that resistance of the harp. We're punching into the back pressure of the harp and feeding off it. We started off with out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, and a good test of your harp is try it on your $5 Austrian harp. If you can't just get a simple out breath, in breath, then you're not going to be able to get the stutters. But out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath. Then start doubling up. Dun 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 dun. That's just my tongue in the center. After you get that pulsatingness, and you can start breaking the rhythm. Like I like to establish a breathing pattern, establish a rhythm. And that's kind of the model where I'll do my experimentation around it. We have these rhythms, we create these rhythms, and it has to be properly timed for people really to get into it. The better you get with your timing, the better people are gonna, their brain's gonna recognize. They're gonna be like, "Ooh, there's a pattern in there. I like that pattern." Dun, 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 dun. And then you improvise and you break that pattern. But you must first establish a rhythmic breathing pattern in order to break it. And you can only break it if you've established a breathing pattern. If they were all broken patterns, then all you just have is noise. But establish your pattern and then start experimenting around. Start moving your tongue up and down. You can open up the corners of your mouth. You can add percussives in there. And this is on a cheaper harp. This is on a Glasser and Lighthouse. So yeah. There, I've raised my tongue up, so the tone raised up. There I'm flaring the corner of my mouth and raising my tongue up. And I'm not doing any percussives. It's all off. Almost everything is off of my tongue orientation and off of that breathing pattern. And it's hard to do without a harp because we're feeling the back pressure and we're kind of bouncing off it. Like if you were to, a good feeling of bouncing the back pressure is if you were to go in the harp without vocalizing. That's that pulsating, that feeling you want for bouncing for the hillbilly breathing. And there I'm moving my tongue up and down and down. If you don't have tongue orientation and stuff like that and controlling your tones, you probably want to experiment with that separately. Because I seen a good quote today. It was from Michael Jordan. He says, "If you develop your fundamentals, everything in your game will rise," or something like that. I don't remember what it was verbatim. But develop the small pieces. What we do first is we develop the little steps. Because if you've never done the hillbilly breathing pattern and you don't know about tone control, I'm kind of getting it to work. I am waiting to get. Oh yeah, Pavel Pokin you can do it with. They're tied up. But you also need to feel it. And you also need to feel the back pressure, and you also need to hear it in your mind, and that's part of getting a breathing rhythm. If you just go through the motions, but you don't have the music inside of you, then it's not going to work out. So you need to feel, and you need to be confident in the tone you're producing. So where was we at? I went off on a tangent there. Build the smaller pieces. Start with your out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath. Then start stuttering your breath and work on these separately at first. Work on your breathing patterns. Then if you haven't manipulated the tone, let's just go over real quick how to manipulate tones in a non-melodic type of way. You can definitely put melodies together, but it's not that open-close pattern. If your tongue's in the center, we're making... I'm going to switch harps here, something a little bit louder and cleaner. This way. Just going to play the harp I built today. With your tongue in the center, you're making that open tone, and this should fall on or near the note it's tuned to. That's how I actually tune them, is with my tongue in the center. As you raise your tongue to the roof, we're reducing the volume or the cavity of your mouth. Kind of like if you ever watched Blue Man Group play. Like their tubulums, they have these long pipes. And they'll be drumming on the end and be like, do, 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 do. And as they move the pipe in, kind of like, it's a slide, kind of like a trombone. Oh, you figured it? Oh, nice. Yeah, getting that feeling and getting the sound of what I'm doing in your head will help as well. But as we reduce the volume of this resonant chamber that's your mouth, because without your mouth on there, the harp just sounds like this. Here, we're amplifying it. As we reduce the volume... How did I get a cat hair in my mouth? Stuck to the harp. As we reduce the cavity of our mouth by moving our tongue up and filling our mouth up, there's with it clear at the tip. And I'm taking up, there's not much cavity left in my mouth. So it's getting higher. And as we drop our tongue back and then finally open up our throat to get those deeper tones, it's that same feeling as when you're yawning. Your tongue drops back and your glottis closes and then your esophagus opens up. But you can start at the top and with your tongue up there and dee 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 dee, and slowly come down and listen to it coming down. There at the end, I was closing my glottis, opening up my throat. And also be sure you're paying attention and listening and feeling the harp, because the harp's going to tell you when you're cooperating with it and when the harp is like a dancing partner. If you were to dance with somebody, and I know I use this analogy probably too much, but if you were dancing with someone and you were doing your own thing and not paying attention to what they're doing, then you're probably not dancing very well. But a dance is between two people. Same with the harp. You need to feel, listen, and kind of be one with, I don't mean to get hippie-ish, but kind of be one with the harp and feed off of it, because it's the other partner in the dance. You don't want to be doing things independently of the harp. That's why a lot of times it starts to help out, or it helps to start out. Like sometimes when I used to show people harp, I would just grab a hold of it and get into some gnarly, really fast rhythm, and it didn't sound that good, and the people weren't into it. It sometimes helps to feel out where the harp's at and then start massaging the overtones and getting to where you need to be. And that also helps people who have never heard the harp. Instead of them hearing a whole bunch of really fast noise, they hear, okay, this is making a tone. Oh, wait, this tone's going up, going down. If you just pull out a harp and start hammering on it, start doing a whole bunch of different tones, the people listening probably aren't going to hear them because they're just going to hear a whole bunch of noise. But if you start out with a central tone and see where it's at and start massaging it, massaging the tone, that sounds weird to say out loud. Yeah, and the harp isn't even resonating properly, I don't think, when you first start playing it, when it's not at your body temperature and when that reed's just resting. Listen to the difference in the tone when this harp, this monop, has gotten kind of cold because it's just been sitting here. Listen to it as I play it more and start softly massaging the overtones on it. Listen to it come alive. And it really, at first they'll read somebody commented it was a long comment and I lost it. I wasn't paying attention, got lost in the harp. A harp will come alive. Give a harp 30 seconds to, 2 minutes to warm up. Let's pick up just another cold harp and just see what happens with it. This is Morchang, I think is how it's called. Being from Kansas, I'm a classic mispronunciator. Let's see if we can get this harp to wake up. Just listen to the tone at first, and let's see what it does. It's kind of dull and lifeless at first. Let's see what we get here. This dude isn't. Yeah. Oh, cool. Hey, John Sheriffs. Thanks for tuning in. I love harps, so I love to share them with people. And the more people who I teach how to play the harp, or the more people who I can get in the conversation of talking about the harp, ultimately, the more people I get to play with, and the more people I get to talk to about the harp. And if you're near Oregon, or if you want to come to the festival, we're doing the festival again this year. It's August 10th and 11th, either that or 11th and 12th in Cottage Grove, Oregon. I'm going to be doing some videos up and coming, releasing all the details about that. Super awesome time. Not a huge festival. It's a gathering of people who love music and who love harps and didgeridoos and whatnot. Super awesome time. Yeah. But it's kind of a harp. Have you ever heard of Jack Person? Didn't he do a harp tutorial on which one was that? Was that the guy who did a harp tutorial? Or was that the guy who played Turkey in the Straw? The name sounds familiar. Yeah, the harp's kind of dull and lifeless at first. Let's see if we can get it going. See where it plays. He died a few months ago. Oh, was that the guy who played the Turkey in the Straw? Was that him? Yeah, this Jack Person guy. I believe if I know I've seen the name on YouTube. I'm sorry to hear that. The world has lost a harpist. It's a bad deal. Bummer. Where was I at here? I don't know. I was about to play harp. There, I found it. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's right up by Eugene. And I'm not from Oregon. I'm from Kansas, but a lot of us make the pilgrimage to Cottage Grove. It's always been held, I think, in Oregon, and it ran. This is the 23rd year that it's running. We just took it over last year. It didn't run for several years, and Porky Miller actually got a hold of me and Nico Cornelius and a few other people, and we're like, we need to resurrect that. And Waylon Harmon came out. Gonna have some really, really cool people there. There's going to be really cool classes on how to play the harp. Won't be able to do a harp building tutorial or anything, but like that. But lots on playing. There's going to be band scrambles. Like after the first night, we always have the grand jam where just everybody gets up on stage and plays together. It's a killer time. It's not a huge festival, but you come out, it's going to be a ball. People playing unique musical instruments, unique people, a unique place. Oregon is a beautiful place. Anyways, I come from Kansas, which is pretty in a plainer way. It has a simpler beauty, but you go up to Oregon and oh my God, there's trees growing on trees and moss growing on houses. It is a green place. Oh, that goes back. That leads me going back. That's not a commercial for the state of Oregon, but I used to. How do I say this? I used to always play. I played every type of harp I picked up the exact same, and I wanted harps. I was selfish in the way I played harps because I wanted the harp to conform to me. I'm like, no, it's about me. If a harp doesn't play like the couple harps that I like, then I'm just gonna play it the same way, and I'm gonna be disappointed in it. When I pick up a harp, what I look for now is things that I like and don't like, but I also look for how do I play the harp? How does the harp want to be played instead of how do I want to play the harp? Because a morchung, and especially when a morchung is really good, is a fantastic instrument, just as Vargan, Drumba, Jerome, all these different takes on harps and munap. Somebody says, can you show us one now that I should buy as my first one? Sure. I will in a second if I remember. But yes, I've stopped. I've kind of removed my ego out of the situation because I haven't even been playing that long. I've been playing a little over 2 years. I removed my ego out of the harp, and when I pick up a harp, I feel around. I'll play different overtones and see like, okay, how does the harp want to be played? How does the trigger behave? What can I do to cooperate with the harp instead of just picking up a harp and expecting it to cooperate with me? So I encourage you all, when you pick up a harp, especially a new style of harp that you haven't played before, like Merchungas don't play like Vargan, don't play like in all types of harps vary too. You'll have good and bad examples of them. But when you pick up a harp, ask yourself, well, feel the harp out? Where does it want to play? How does it want to play? And you'll have much better luck in playing the harp. And it actually opens. Okay, we'll go back to it actually opens yourself up to doing more on the harp instead of playing. I used to play all the time the same rhythm, and it's easy to get a strong rhythm and you always fall back into it. But when you open yourself up and start playing, feeling around on the harp, what are its strengths, what are its weaknesses, you'll build new rhythms and new songs just off that, just off the being open. Because if you just do the same thing on every single style of harp you play, you get that tunnel vision. There's all sorts of notes and all sorts of nuances in there that you're going to miss. You're going to miss opportunities. But what harp should you buy as a beginner? Here are a few that I like, and I sell some of them, and I don't sell others. And this is by no means a commercial. We're starting off the Pavel Pokin. I've got some coming in. Is the cheapest you want to go on a harp. You can get these harps with cases a lot of times for $20 without cases, as low as 10 or 12. And that's probably about as cheap as you want to go. They do play fairly decent. This one I modified it a little bit too much. So it doesn't play as good as it used to. But they're fairly loud. The overtones aren't going to be pure, but they're good for building your rhythmic techniques on. Some people I had somebody comment today. They said it's kind of uncomfortable to hold, especially if you've got giant hands, or if you're, which I don't have giant hands. I have pretty normal size hands, or you have arthritis, or you're not accustomed to playing the harp. But it plays fairly decent. And they're untuned, so they're going to vary in tuning. But yeah, for like a cheap harp, yeah, Pavel Pokin beats the heck out of spending a few dollars less and getting like a toy one, like a Snoopy or a Hobby Lobby mouth harp or Grover Trophy, any of those. I would just say if you have other options, stay away from the Grovers, the Trophies, the Snoopies, and Hobby Lobby mouth harps. But if that's your only option, go ahead and try that. Other good ones, Salagi Chancellor. I don't sell these. My friend Mark Poss, who owns mouthmusic.com out of California, he's the other retailer of harps here in the U.S. And my grammar's suffering. The Salagi Chancellor is a heck of a step up from a Pavel Pokin, but they're going to be a little bit more. And they're Austrian pattern harps are super easy to hold because they're big. That crackly loud Salagi style harp. And this was actually my first harp. It's still in operation, the Chancellor. I shouldn't jinx my... what I'm going to do is say, oh yeah, I've plucked this thing a ton of times and haven't broke it, so I don't want to jinx myself. Other ones, the Glaserin, the lower dollar Glaserin, you can get a pretty decent harp for. Wave is pretty decent. Lighthouse, this is like the Chancellor. Yeah, I like the Chancellor too. If you're in the United States, give Mark Poss a call or get a hold of him on mouthmusic.com and he'll send you one out. He just got a shipment in. Do you prefer Austrian harps to Russian harps? No, I do not. Russian harps, like when you say Russian harps, it's a country, and it's the country that the most harps in the world are made in. Like this, some of my finest harps, well, the best harps I've ever played and some of the finest harps I've ever played were made in Russia. The Babayev, Masko, Niega, Makseyev, or not, no, Niega and Makseyev are in Ukraine. Ukraine's another country that is coming out. There's a lot of younger makers that are producing fantastic harps. But yeah, the Russian harps, and there's good and bad Russian harps, so you just kind of have to know what you're looking for. But let's go back to beginner harps, like the cheaper Glaserin, like Lighthouse. And Glaserin makes, it's a huge deep line, so they make really, really awesome harps as well. But like the Lighthouse is pretty cheap. Is there a website to order a Chancellor from? Yeah, mouthmusic.com. It's mouthmusic, one word, .com. And you can order a Chancellor right off there. That's one of my friends. But like here's the Glaserin Lighthouse. I sell those. I sell entire run of Glaserin harps. And I've been playing too many stiff-reeded harps, so I'm getting a little bit of clicks off it, and that'll happen when I play lots of stiff reeders. I'll hold with too much pressure. And then like the Wave is pretty decent. I like the Pilot. I'm out of Pilots. Pilots are super easy to play. I've got a whole bunch more coming in because they're super easy to play, and they got good purity of overtones. Aesthetic's good for beginners. It's going to really teach you precision. Aesthetic plays kind of similar to a Star does, but at a lot cheaper of a price. Not quite as pure. Tons of manipulatable outer space type overtones. So yeah, I've sold aesthetics to people coming right off toy harps, and they just absolutely loved it because it's a huge step up from a toy harp. Tons of manipulatable overtones, purity. It does the Pickles. Get off here! You're gonna get hair all over the harps. Oh, on Saturdays and Fridays he gets wet cat food, so he just begs and begs. But yeah, aesthetics, Pilots, and people coming right off Snoopy harps that played those harps and just absolutely loved them. And especially like the aesthetic, there's a ton of overtones to work with. So what are other good beginner harps? Some of the that's probably all that I can recommend off the top of my head. I've had some other beginner harps in, and I've been experimenting around with a lot of makers that I'd never heard of, and some of them have went fantastic. Other ones have went poorly. Here's one. Kind of dead sound. Sometimes you get harps from makers who are newer, and I ran into problems like this making it first too. They don't know that a reed needs to be in a flat plane. This one sits cross-secting, so the gaps are tight, but it creates overtones that kill the overtones that it makes. Yeah, here's another one. It's ramping up this way. But that would probably even be good for a beginner, because you don't need purity of overtones to get the basics. But it is nice when you have harps like the Chancellor and the some of the Glazierin that give you that wealth of overtones. What should I play? I'm going to play probably one or two more. Right. So where did this harp music originate from? Well, that's a good question. Where did the harp originate from? It's been found all over the world, and they've been around at least 1,500, maybe as much as 2,000 years or more. Before that, it existed, and they still do exist, being made out of bamboo, pieces of bone, palm leaves. That's a bamboo one. So the harp like this, somebody says, can outward plucking bend the reed? Yes, yes, but I've hammered on that quite a bit. But outward plucking is a totally legit technique, and people do totally awesome stuff with outward plucking. I do mostly inward plucking. I do a little bit of outward as well. But if you're going to pluck outward, you want to be gentle, because it is a little bit harder on a reed. But as for the harps, they existed made out of bone, bamboo, palm leaves. Before that, there were mouth bows, and there still are mouth bows. I packaged my mouth bow up before the move and haven't unpackaged it yet. I still got boxes and boxes to unpack of not everyday use stuff. But I think before the Jaw Harp, or whatever they called it thousands of years ago, warriors and hunters would play the corners of their bows, because you can strum a bow kind of like a musical instrument, and you can put the corner of it in your mouth and you can manipulate the overtones. That led to mouth bows coming out that were just specifically for playing. But I don't know the exact timeline of the harps, but they occur all over the world. And we're going to play one more harp. Let's play this one going to Russia. Yeah. Can you make a harp out of leaf? Yeah, I believe they make harps, or have made harps out of palm leaves. I've seen them done. I've never done it one myself. Credit cards, pieces of plastic, all sorts of stuff. All you need is basically a frame and a vibrating reed to make noise. And like the ones made out of credit cards and palm leaves, play them up against your lips, kind of like the bamboo ones. And you can actually play a regular harp up against your lips. I used to like to jump back and forth in between lip play and tooth play. And that lip play, your lips absorb a lot of the vibration, so a lot of the harp gets dampened, whereas your teeth are bone, connected into bone, so it gives it a good solid location to resonate off of. And let's just demonstrate this technique. I've got this right there. Okay, if I just try to hold the harp, the reed doesn't vibrate as well because my fingers are soft and they have a lot of give to them. There's not a good way to anchor it. If you put it on the edge of a table, now watch what happens. Vibrates a lot better and a lot longer because it has something solid. It's not sitting there, because if the when you hold it and the reed's moving and your hand starts vibrating because it's not braced up against something hard, it actually slows that reed down and dampens it. And let's see if I can readjust this back up. Oh yeah, I like this new mount, so I can use a real tripod. And I'm going to be using the same tripod to do some, we're going to make some videos while we're up at the festival, interviews with people, checking out harps, checking out people playing. So I've got this mount that's got a cold shoe on it, so I'm going to be mounting not this microphone, but another microphone, because my big camera, I don't use it a ton, and it's expensive, and I don't like to travel with it. Aren't palm leaves too thin? I don't know, because I've never made one out of it. I've never held a palm leaf, and I don't know what part of the leaf or what part of, is it the frond or whatever the stem is? Maybe they make them out of them. I've just heard of such things, so I can't really comment too much on how to make one out of a palm leaf. Let's go ahead and let's play this harp. This harp's going to Russia next week. I'm going to test it all week, make sure it's up to snuff still, make sure there's no changes in the gaps. The gaps are very, very tight. It's a little bit lower of a harp, but my overtones are pure, so I'm sending it to, and it's not a common tuning, and nobody on my list requested a C sharp. I'm going to be mailing it off to a collector in Russia who has helped me find some makers. That's really helped my business as well, having contact with makers. And I think that a lot of people who have played American harps don't have a very good opinion of them, because most American harps you find, and the couple makers, it's not, and I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying that there's not a lot of sensitivity and not a lot of volume, so it's hard to compare the American models to Vargan, Drimba, Jerome, stuff of that nature, because there's just not much there. They're much better than toy harps, but I wanted this collector who's helped me out with some hookups to have a good playing harp. So good wealth of overtones and decent to good bell rings. Not as good as like Babayev or Makseyev or Niega, but my harps are getting much better. So anyways, we're at 56 minutes and 40 seconds. I plan on making a much shorter video, but every time I say that, I'll be like, this is the last harp, but it's never the last harp. I live in Wisconsin. Did you get a harp from Madison? Yes, that is, yeah, that one right there. I believe that's where they're made. But I've never been to Madison, Wisconsin. And anyways, we're going to wrap it up with that. I thought I was going to be making a shorter video, but I'm always like, I'll play one more harp, and then I play 10 more harps. Anyways, thank you for coming out and chilling. I love it when all y'all tune in. I love it when you comment, and I love connecting with other harpists. Keep in mind, in August 10th and 11th, oh, thanks again for tuning in, John Jeff. Thanks, Josh P. And keep in mind, if you're able to make it out for the festival, it's going to be a gnarly time of nerd harpists coming together and making noise, and real musicians and technique tutorials. People, there's going to be a guy teaching the harp there that is much, much, much better than I am. And there's harpists going there that are much better players than I am. I've only been playing about 2 years, but I think I've progressed quickly in my techniques because I play all the time. And oh yeah, I'm going to try to do one either Friday or Saturday night. It doesn't always work out for Fridays, but I try to get one up by Saturday. But not every weekend am I going to have a live video. But yeah, anyways, there's going to be people there who are much better players than I am that are going to be able to teach you more. It's going to be a gnarly time. There's going to be lots of harps for sale. There's going to be performances. You'll have the opportunity to sign up to perform, also to get in on the band scramble. The band scramble, whole bunch of musicians come up, people, not just harpists, people who play guitars, mandolins, fiddles, whatever, didgeridoos. There was a guy there playing turntable, and he had a computer playing with other people. And what we do is we take and we put all the names together, and then you draw out and we assemble bands. Like, people who've never met each other have 2 hours to prepare some content, so they get up on stage for 5 or 10 minutes and play a few songs. It is such an early time, and it's so fun, and you'll really grow if you have to play with other people. Like me, by myself, I don't hardly ever get the chance to play with other musicians or other harpists, so it is so awesome to do the band scramble. So anyways, be sure to, if you can, make it out to the festival. It's going to be a fantastic time. It's free to attend. Anyways, I'm going horse, and Mr. Pickby really wants some wet food. But anyways, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more harpery. Harp out. Well, I haven't played the star in a while. There, ooh, I was yet. Peace out. Adios. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.